Welcome to INOvators, a series where we sit down with thought leaders in the healthcare technology space to talk about the news and trends that are impacting the industry today. Joining me is Scott Jubeck, SVP of Product on our Data Insights team at Inovalon, and this episode is part of our mini-series where we look specifically at 2026 and what our internal thought leaders predict will be top of mind in the healthcare tech space. Thanks for being here today, Scott.
Thanks for the invitation.
So everyone in healthcare is talking about data and AI. With your background in the space and your role at Inovalon, what is your take on real-world data? Where is it making the biggest impact? How can teams get the most value out of their data, no matter their focus?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question. It's a big question. It's a fantastic question, and I do have the pleasure of serving as the product lead for the data insights business, really with a focus on real-world data. And at Inovalon, that's truly special. We think we have one of the largest data assets across the entire industry, so we can do some really, really interesting things with real-world data. So if we look at the industry today, historically, if you look at the last 5 or 10 years, real-world data has been focused on what has happened in the past. So if we look at HEOR research or comparative effectiveness or market access, it's all been about tell me what has happened over the last few years or few months or few quarters when it comes to comparing this patient population to this patient population, or this drug to this drug, or this therapy to this therapy. And real world data over the last few years has been transformational. It has saved countless lives. And it's been an honor to serve in that, to serve in this industry and to serve in this role. And at Inovalon, I think what's truly inspirational for me is this transition that's happening now in real world data. It's not just historical data anymore. It's historical and what can we do today, right? How can we act today based off the data we're collecting? The data across the industry, and especially at Inovalon, is much richer and more robust than it's ever been in the past. At Inovalon, we have closed claims data, we have open claims data, we have EHR data, and those data assets are growing rapidly. And because of that, we can build very rich, high quality, longitudinally linked patient data where you can take action in moments. And that's really impacting the entire healthcare continuum. So when it comes to real world data, I think we're really at the tip of the iceberg. We've done a lot of great work over the last few years, but I think the next 10 years is really where we're going to see some very, very exciting things in the space.
Absolutely. Looking at teams who maybe are wanting to improve their data governance or analytics, but aren't sure where to start, what would be your number one piece of advice for them?
I would say my number one piece of advice is to start with quality. There are many, many, many suppliers in the market today coming from many different sources, many different types of data, but there are a few key suppliers in the industry, and I'm proud to say that I work at one at Inovalon that has truly high quality primary source data, and you know that you can trust it. You know that you can build high quality analytics on it. You know that you can perform analysis that you can trust. And so I would say the first piece of advice is to start with quality. Make sure that you're finding a supplier that has that primary source data and has the expertise in-house that can guide you along the way. I think that real world data requires a partnership with your source of choice. And of course, I know I'm biased, but I think Inovalon is a great place to start. The second piece of advice that I would say is that just get started. There is no perfect framework to get started. There's no perfect place to start, but you have to get started. You have to start to try, and you can learn along the way. And again, it goes back to that partnership that I mentioned before. Finding a great partner to work with you along the way is just absolutely critical. So again, start with high quality, and 2, find a wonderful partner and get started.
And we know that there was a lot of innovation, especially around AI in 2025. So tell me, what was your favorite data or AI innovation this past year? And then what predictions do you have for AI and data coming into 2026?
Yeah, great question again. It actually wasn't a piece of technology or it wasn't a piece of data, which was my favorite. It was actually just a recent announcement by the FDA. So the FDA announced on December 15th that real world data will now be accepted as part of submissions for medical device approvals. And historically, it's been really focused on identifiable patient information. And that's wonderful. That is certainly high quality data that can be collected through clinical trials and a variety of other sources. but that holds the industry back in some cases, that has held the industry back because you couldn't access these large, wonderful de-identified data sources where you could really at a moment's notice understand what's happening across the entire country, across various different provider sources, payer sources. And now the FDA has given that guidance to allow us to use that data for FDA submissions. And I think that's a wonderful move by the government and something that I'm really excited about. And why I'm excited is because I think that unlocks a lot of innovation into 2026. RWD has been given that vote of confidence by the FDA. And so I think the analysis that Inovalon and others will do in the industry in 2026 can be really groundbreaking and can really accelerate the market going forward.
And data is really what powers everything that we do here. So it's always exciting to sit down with you, Scott, and get your insight. I appreciate you taking the time today.
Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.
And to our audience, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to check out our other episodes of our Trends and Predictions miniseries.